Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about how to solve a one-step equation using algebra. So some of the equations are going to look like stuff you did in kindergarten or first grade. So you're going to think this is silly. I can just do this in my head. But what we're learning today is the algebra step. Okay. So watch what I'm talking about. You'll catch on pretty quick because I'm giving you really easy problems because to make the algebra step easier to understand, but it's important you understand the process because as we move along, the equations will get a little bit harder and a little bit harder. So we really need to understand the process. So as you saw in the slide before this video, there's 4 steps. If you do these 4 steps every time, you'll be able to work your way through, especially if you go ahead and check your work, which I'll show you how to do that. So the beauty of algebra is when you're done, you have the answer, and it's easy just to put the answer back into the equation to make sure you have the correct answer. So when you were in the first grade, your teacher would have something that maybe looked like this. It'd be a box plus 3 equals 5, and you had to figure out what was going to be in the box. So you probably counted on your fingers and toes or whatever that you did. So now we're going to do the same sort of a problem, even though you know the answers too. We're going to show you how you solve it using algebra because it's the algebra pieces. But instead of having a box, we're going to use an X. X is my variable. I can use any letter I want for my variable. It's just a symbol for something we don't know. Just like that box was a symbol for something you didn't know back when you were in the first grade. So it's just a symbol. Other than that, it can be whatever you want. You can make it a smiley face if you wanted to. It's just a symbol to represent what you don't know. So here are the steps. What is the variable? You're answering these questions. That's right, it's the X. What number is on the same side of the variable? What number is on the same side of the equal sign as the variable? That's correct, the 3. What operation is it doing? It's adding, very good. So what is the inverse operation? That means what's the opposite of adding 3? And that would be subtracting 3. So we are going to do that to both sides. These 3's cancel. I don't need to say 0. We're trying to move the 3 to the other side, and we do that through the inverse operation. And the reason we're trying to move things to the other side is when we get the variable by itself, whatever is on the other side of the equal sign is our answer. So right now, the only thing left over here is X. 5 minus 3 is 2, and I can actually check to see if this is right. If X is 2, I substitute that right back into the equation. 2 plus 3 is 5, and that is correct. Now let's do a different operation. We'll call this one y. Y minus 4 equals 6. Okay. What is the variable? Good, the y. What number is on the same side of the equal sign as the variable? Very good, 4. What operation is the 4 doing? Subtraction, very good. So the inverse operation of minus 4 is correct, plus 4. And so we do that to both sides. These come out. And by the way, let me remind you of the process of what I like to call the inverted pyramid. Because sometimes when you guys show your work, you kind of have it all over the place and it's hard to follow. And of course, we're just doing a one-step equation, but when these get longer, you really want to have your work in order. So we're going to just keep everything going down and getting smaller and smaller. The 4's cancel each other out. The y comes down. The equal sign comes down. 6 plus 4 is 10. There's my inverted pyramid. And I can take that 10, put it back into the equation to check whether it's correct, and it is. Let's do multiplication now. 3x is 12. Now, if you take a variable and you put it right next to a number, that's multiplication. We don't use the times sign anymore, the dot. It's just too confusing. So now we just move away from it and we just put the variable right next to the number. And so that says 3 times x. So what is the variable? X. Very good. What number is on the same side of the equal sign as the variable? 3. Good job. What operation? Multiplication. And so we're going to do the inverse operation, which is, it's correct, division. Now we're going to show this a kind of a different way. You guys are still kind of used to doing the division symbol, the line and the 2 dots, but this is how we're going to show division, and it's going to help us out with trying to do that inverted pyramid thing again. So the opposite of times 3 is divided by 3, and I do that to both sides. 3 divided by 3, as you learned and memorized this, is 1. So I have 1x left. Bring the equal sign down. 12 divided by 3 is 4. It's easy to check whether I got this right. I insert the 4 where the x is, and it's correct. Cool. Let's do division. I'm going to go back to y. I do y divided by 8 equals 2. All right. What's the variable? Y. Very good. What number is on the same side of the equal sign as the variable? Correct again. 8. What operation is it doing? Division. Very good. Okay, we're going to do the opposite, but we're going to show it in a kind of a different way. I'm going to put parentheses around the whole thing. And eventually you're going to know what's called distributive property. And so these two 8s, when I multiply, when I do the opposite division, which is multiplying, it does cancel them out. I will show you more about that later. So y is by itself. 2 times 8 is 16. And I can easily check my work on this. 16 over 8 equals 2. And that checks out. We are good to go. All right. So those are the 4 different operations in their inverse. And so now it's your turn to practice. See you later. Bye-bye.